What's going on? It's your boy Bowie here, aka the Gelid Glaciologist, aka the Sub Scientist, aka somebody who has some hopes about this alleged incoming patch that's supposed to drop tomorrow. Man, oh man, first and foremost, feels like it's been a long time since I spoke to y'all on some MK shit, you know what I'm saying? My last 3 videos were concerning my ROG Ally X, but it was from the perspective of somebody that wants to play MK in a handheld not owned by Nintendo. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so I've been hearing rumblings about a patch that's supposed to be dropping tomorrow. We have no idea if that's true or not. I don't know. But in the instance that a patch is dropping on Tuesday, I guess we'll find out soon enough. I just want to talk about some changes that I hope are made. Excuse me. And some of the changes will be systemic changes. Many of the most important ones have to surround the have to do with the idea of changing the current meta, because what I'm finding is, at least when I watch tournaments, far too much of MK1's upper echelon top tier tournament meta is predicated around mix and the wild situations that pop up. I mean, this is not even just the typical 50-50 mix. Some of it is like 33-33-33. Sometimes it's 425 mix. Sometimes it's 520 mix. Like in the case of T1000, like we're getting some wild mixing situations where the character on offense has 5 things that they can do to you, and if you guess wrong on any one of them, they get a full combo. Meanwhile, if you guess right as the defender, you might get to punish them, maybe, depending, or you might just escape with your life, you know. So I want to sort of address some of that. But first are the system changes. If this is the patch, because I had heard rumors that this would be quote unquote the final patch, which again, that's unsubstantiated as of right now. But if it is the last patch, one of the things I hope that happens is the PC port of this game needs to remove de novo. In case you don't know, de novo is an anti-cheat software. And the problem with de novo is that it runs in the background of the game, and it saps up to like 10% of the performance of that game. That's a substantial bit, particularly on PCs. And the reason why I'm talking specifically about this is because, you know, there's going to be a whole generation of players that are going to be playing this game on PC handhelds like the Steam Deck, Ally X, the Lenovo Legion Go, and then upcoming handhelds to come. And we don't need anything siphoning off performance, especially if it's not needed, like de novo is. You know, if players is going to cheat, they going to cheat. And it's up for NRS to catch them and ban them if they are in fact cheating. We don't need a damn software that's killing PC performance, you know. But anyway, now on to some buffs that'll help everybody. So for one, we desperately need online lobbies. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's been 2 years now almost, and this game still does not have regular rooms as every other Mortal Kombat title had before them in the NRS era. MK9 had rooms, MKX had rooms, MK11 had rooms. Only this game doesn't have it. And it's for this and other reasons that people rightly concluded that the game was rushed. Now, don't get me wrong, MK1's in a much better state than it was in on day one, for sure. But it ain't all the way where it need to be. And not having online rooms is a big reason for that. So we need that. In addition to that, we need a sets mode, because some of us, like myself, would love to just play sets against people, random people using random characters. But the problem is you never know what mode people are in. Like, they might just want to do one and dones, and that's fine, that's their business. But the problem is, if one player wants to do a first to 10 or a first to 20 and the other player wants to do a first to 1, somebody's going to be unhappy, and it's probably the person that wants to do the set. Because as soon as that player gets that first match, especially if it's a victory, they bouncing. So we need a mode for players that are dedicated to running sets. And so players should pre-select what the number goes up to, first to, whether it's first to 3, first to 5, first to 10, first to 20, whatever the hell, you know what I'm saying? And they should go to rooms that correspond with that set. So you have first to 5 set up in there. Maybe there's a room where everyone in there is doing first to 5s. And the only way you can even get into that room is if you have that pre-selected in the online options menu or whatever the hell. And so you just fight people. And if you leave that set, you know, like if you quit or something like that, there should be something that happens. You know what I mean? Or at least you should be marked with some sort of indicator to other players that says, hey, this person quit the last set, or they have such and such and such disconnects during sets. That way people know if you're a plugger or a lagger, you know what I'm saying? Sorry, I got to get my big red on. But yeah, I think that's perfectly appropriate for this game, because it gives people something else to do while online besides being Combat League. Because I'm gonna tell you the truth, if this game had online rooms where I could just randomly invade King of the Hills and shit like that and play against people, I would never be in Combat League, because I never played Combat League for real. The only reason I started doing it in this game is because there's not rooms. And I noticed that in MK11, rooms were for the people that were stupidly laggy. Like some of those international players that had like that triple digit yellow ass ping. Those would be the people that would be in the rooms. And so I stopped going and started being in Combat League. But make no mistake, I'm in Combat League against my will, not because of it. I have no desire to go to Elder God or none of that shit, because I don't care nothing about that. I'm trying to learn the goddamn game. I'm not trying to reach no high ass rank or no shit like that. I don't care. Especially when the matches are first to 2. Like, that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you can't switch your character out. You can only switch your cameo. Like, it's stilted. So anyway, so we need something else. We need those rooms, and we need that set mode. Sets mode. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but that's what we need. Okay. I also feel like there should be some other offline mode as well, but I can't think of it. Oh, here's something I would like to see. I want that MK9 style test your luck mode back. Because in MK9, you could play test your luck mode, right? Where you play against the computer, you set the difficulty, and you set the number of modifiers that pop up. And what would happen is you would play against the computer, a random modifier would be chosen, and you play matches. And if you won the match, win, lose, or draw, when you play again, it selects a different opponent for you to play. You know what I'm saying? I think something like that would be brilliant for this game. Because you have over 600 some odd different team combinations that you could pick between the characters and the cameos. Like, I don't see no reason why this game can't have that kind of mode. And there's a whole bunch of different modifiers. You know what I'm saying? They could be holiday themed. They could just be whatever the hell. And if you don't like the modifier, you just reset. You know what I'm saying? And even if it wasn't like the classic MK9 test your might, just give me a mode where I can just play CPUs. If I win or lose, or if I win, I get to play the next opponent, and there's no strings attached. There's no gimmick of, oh, you can only, use one health bar, or, oh, they get progressively more difficult. I don't want that shit. I don't need them to start input reading and all that bullshit. What I need is just a never-ending ladder of CPU opponents for me to practice combos and strategies out against. You know what I'm saying? That'd be really good. Not just for me, but for other players as well. Give them a place for them to practice new combos that they lab and shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this was the other offline mode. We need a no cameo mode. A classic 1v1 MK mode. Because as good as the cameo system is, and it is a good and great system that people are going to miss when it's gone. Mark my fucking words on that. There are a great many number of players that do not want to use cameos and should not be they shouldn't be forced to use cameos in this game. They should have never been forced to. They always should have been given the option to play without them. You know what I'm saying? And now would be the perfect time to give us that mode, because in both MK11 and MKX, we were able to opt out of whatever the gimmick was. If you wanted to play a variationless version of MKX characters, you could do that. If you wanted to not equip any custom moves onto characters in MK11, you could do that too. You can't opt out of cameos in this game, and that's to the detriment. So we need that. Now, as far as the meta of the game, let me start by saying this game is very well balanced. You can take literally any character in this game, even the one at the lowest tier, and you can take their ass in tournament, and you can get top 8 with them if you tried. Many characters are gonna be harder to do this with than others, but it is possible for it to happen. So when people sit there and say such and such character is not viable at a tournament level, that literally is false, because we've seen every character in this game represented in tournament at the highest level. All of them. Some more than others. Some don't win as much as others do, but they've all been there, and that's not something that we've always seen. So, Having said all that, though, the top tier characters, I'm talking about the tippity top tier characters, they are like a level above the characters beneath them, as well as everybody else. Because in addition to being well designed characters, much like everyone else, they have some kind of ridiculous dirt that puts them over the edge. You know what I'm saying? Like they have just some level of stupidity or ridiculousness that makes them supremely strong. Like T1000, he gets really high damage. He has a really good set of normals. He has a 7-frame special move that he can use to punish pokes. You know what I'm saying? And it leads to a combo. Like, he has a great mid. He has a 5-hitting string, a 5-hit string that can be special canceled in multiple ways at multiple points. The man has a command grab that can tick throw from a bunch of different shit. So he has a bunch of good attributes already. And he's got a dive kick. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell? So in addition to having all of this, he has a bunch of 50-50s everywhere. And like I said, he has a command grab. So he has tick throws from a bunch of strings. The command grab leads to a combo. And he has like a 5-way mix. Most of which leads to combos if he's right. So can you make the right read and punish him? Sure you can. But is it likely that you'll do it? No. And so, and he's not the only one. You have characters that also have that same, well, they have similar levels of dirt and ridiculousness. And it's not that that stuff is bad or that it needs to go away. It's just that it needs to be toned down so that they're more in line with the characters beneath them. You know what I'm saying? So NRS needs to make changes to the meta that reduce the amount of mix and increases the risk gained on performing the mix. So for instance, Havoc's move, that low scoop move, I don't know its name. The one that launches, that shit needs to be a mid. It needs to be a fucking mid. Why? Because it already gives you a combo. The character already gets stupendous damage by himself or meterlessly. And he can combo off of a bunch of different shit. It doesn't also need to be a low. You know what I'm saying? Like, he already has supremely high health. He already has huge buttons. He already has multiple armor moves, one of which is safe, one of which can take a bunch of freaking hits. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't also need mix. So that low has got to go. It needs to be a mid. The same thing needs to happen with characters like T1000. That low projectile that you have to worry about, that has a 7-frame EX version, it should be a mid as well. That would reduce some of the guessing done from that character. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, what about Cyrax? Here's the thing with Cyrax. Cyrax is frail. And what I mean by that is, Cyrax is a character who it is very easy to over nerf her and nerf her out of competitive viability, or make her competitive viability way worse than what it is. I don't want her to become the new Tanya. You know what I'm saying? Because Tanya got over nerfed like a motherfucker. Like, the thing that was actually the problem with Tanya did get addressed, but then a bunch of extraneous shit that wasn't a problem also got addressed, and now she's back. She's paying for that. You know what I'm saying? So what's wrong with Cyrax? So Cyrax is really problematic with two cameos. She's problematic with Serena and Madame Bo, because her set play becomes so strong to where you don't get to play the game. And in the case of using a character like Madame Bo or a cameo like Madame Bo, you can't even make the right guess out of that shit. It's quite interesting. And so NRS needs to, this is what they need to do. So in the case of Madame Bo, when Madame Bo throws her ambush cameo projectile, any bombs that are on the ground for Cyrax need to just deactivate. That's how you stop that. And as a matter of fact, I think the Cyrax bombs need to deactivate whenever you have a situation where you have grounded bombs. So they need to deactivate when you have an ambush projectile being used. And I say ambush because there are summon projectiles or summon attacks that Cyrax should still be able to use alongside the bombs. And I'm fine with that. But it's not cool to be in the middle of a Cyrax bomb mix, then have Madame Bo tossing a mid projectile at you that meets you on wake up, stops you from jumping, stops you from armoring, forces you to block. And while that's out, there's a ground bomb, and then Cyrax can do command grab into it or strike into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, her next situation is guaranteed because of her just getting one touch. Like, that's not cool. That's not healthy for the game. So shit like that needs to happen with Cyrax. So it's not necessarily that Cyrax needs to be nerfed. It's that some of her interactions with certain cameos need to be nerfed. Like, for instance, Cyrax's meter drain net, when used alongside Serena, it should only drain 1 bar of meter rather than 2. Because that's the real problem, is that you can get the hit with Cyrax Serena, and one combo can drain 3 bars of meter potentially. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is not the move. That shit is not the move. So you can't break ever. You know what I mean? And you won't be able to armor either. So if you were able to armor because Cyrax is, you know, using more meter, or she's not taking away as much meter, that would be fine. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention, well, I think that move already takes 2 bars. If the meter drain doesn't take 2 bars, it should. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. But other than that, like, Cyrax should not receive any changes to her bombs. She shouldn't receive any changes to her frames or the command grab, because anything like that would kill her. You know what I'm saying? Like, she might literally stop being viable as a competitive character if you do something like that. And I don't want that fate to be visited upon by any character in the game, even if I don't play them. That's why I was saying what I was saying about Reiko. I don't even play Reiko. Excuse me. But even I know that it's wrong to take a tool that the character has been using for a year and then be like, fuck this tool, you can't use it. Like, that's fucked up. You know what I mean? But so yeah, man. And it's not just Cyrax and T1K. Like, a bunch of the top tiers all have ridiculousness that needs to be addressed in a similar fashion. Like, you know, Homelander still has some stupidity to him. Really, the characters that should receive the most nerfs are the cameos. In particular, Farah and Tremor. And probably Movado, because Movado is so popular. Movado's stupidly popular. I'm starting to think that perhaps it was okay for him to make you lose 100 health, considering the utility he provides. God damn. Because you talking about this character gives you combos off of every goddamn thing that happens. Ridiculous. But like Tremor, that cameo is stupid strong. What they're gonna need to do with Tremor is just change the recharge rate of the command ambush cameos of his. It needs to be somewhere between what it used to be and what it is currently now, because currently it's too fast. But then on top of that, this is what they really need to do with Tremor. Even if they don't change the recharge rate, these cameo attacks should not be plus on fucking block. That's the main problem with this character, because Tremor can be summoned as a cameo. You could do some of the most belligerent, stupid shit, and then have Tremor come out at the end and do that uppercut. And though the uppercut is typically -16, suddenly it's plus on block. And if you happen to get clipped by it, oh, you just got comboed. Like, what the fuck? Like, no. No. Like, that shit's dumb as hell. Like, if anything, the ambush versions of his attack should be less plus on block than their summon counterparts. You know what I'm saying? So that's what needs to happen. Them shits need to be supremely negative on block. That way, if you guess right on them shits, you're getting killed. Same thing with Farah. Farah's overhead needs to be unsafe on block. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care. The low needs to be even more unsafe, because -12 or -10 is not enough. Because people can do that shit from very safe distances, and then you can't punish. So hell no. Them 50-50s that combo launch should be unsafe as fuck. You know what I mean? And that's just how I feel, because I look at the way Sub-Zero was designed, where technically he has a 50-50, but it doesn't function as a pure 50-50 because the overhead is reactable and it's way slower than the low. And you can't hit confirm the low either. You know what I mean? So we have a slow reactable overhead that's death on block. And we have a low that you can't hit confirm. You know what I'm saying? Technically the string is safe, but you can't hit confirm it. So that's good design 50-50 to me, because it's risky for the person doing it, but you get reward if it hits. Perfectly fair. Meanwhile, a character like Noob Saibot, who used to have an overhead that just splatted, now his overhead, for some reason, gives a combo on hit. And the person doing the overhead doesn't even have to know that the overhead's going to hit. They can just throw this out, put the cameo out, and if they get the combo, great. If not, so what? That shit's not it, man. And then he gets a low string that's hit confirmable and safe. Like, the fuck? Like, no. No. No, 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 no. That overhead needs to splat like it used to. Fuck that shit. If you're going to keep the low safe. And if you're going to keep the overhead back, if you're going to keep the overhead as a combo, then the low string needs to be unsafe then. Fuck you mean? Like, come on, dog. So that's what I'm getting at. That was actually an accident for real. I meant to do walk back 2-1, but that second overhead was definitely planned. But yeah, no. But yeah, so changes aimed at taking some of these tippity top tier characters and making them less stupid, making them have a little bit less mix while keeping all their good shit intact is exactly what should happen if this next patch is the last patch. I'm sincerely hoping that NRS and Ed Boon was serious when they said that they're going to support this game for a long time, which would appear to indicate that this ain't the last patch. But if for some reason it is, that's what we need to be seeing. That's what we need to be seeing. You know what I'm saying? Because Mortal Kombat 1 is a much better game than it was on launch. And out of the big three, I would say that it's in the very best place of the big three. I mean, Street Fighter's not bad in its current position, but this is the game that everyone is playing out of the big three. And that's according to data. So I need it to be the best that it can be. You dig? But y'all let me know how y'all feel in these comments, dogs. It's been a long time. But in any case, it's your boy Bowie. Y'all stay froze.